What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have some Detroit Lions news. The Lions made a couple of roster moves today, and we've got to hear from our offensive coordinator, our defensive coordinator, and our special teams coordinator. So let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. And as you guys can see from the board, it is hashtag pack week, baby. Hey, I've seen that hashtag going around a little bit. Okay, I like it. It's starting to become a thing. Can we start that? Can I see some hashtag pack weeks in the comment section? A little bit? Maybe? No? Just a little bit, okay? I'll put it in the title. You guys put it in the comment section. I'll put it in the title. Let's get this rolling. Hashtag pack week. Because that is what we are on to for this week. Now, we've gotten a little bit of Detroit Lions news, just a small little practice squad move, but we also got to hear from the coordinators, and I love breaking down these. I love reacting to what they had to say, kind of relaying what they had to say to everybody, to you guys. I think these are great. I really do. So it's good to hear from these, and it's not any more off-season talk, you know? It's not, here's what we did in the draft. It's not the same boring, stagnant stuff. No. We're into the season now, so we're focused on what happened last game and, more importantly, next week against Green Bay. So we have some good stuff here. But before we get into all that, first off, I want to say the Allen Robinson video is actually not up on YouTube anymore. I took it down. Why? Well, because I've heard from a lot of sources the reason that his bio said Detroit versus everybody is because he was from Detroit. He won 3 championships in high school in Detroit. So I decided, yeah, let's just take the video down. Okay, I don't think he's going to get traded to Detroit anyways. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. But he is unhappy with Chicago, it seems, because he's not getting that contract extension. So I don't know what his future looks like there. Will his future be in Detroit? I would say there's a chance. I would say it's not very likely, and it probably wouldn't make a lot of sense. But that is okay. Let's move on to this roster move. The Lions made a little bit of a practice squad shuffle. They released defensive end Jonathan Wynn and brought in Kareem Martin, who is a linebacker / defensive end. I'm trying to keep up to date on the cornerbacks to see if the Lions bring in any cornerbacks, even to the practice squad, if they activate anybody. But as of now, we don't have any updates on injuries. However, if the Lions aren't bringing in any players, that could be a good sign that maybe some guys could be healthy this weekend. They're going to take it day by day, but as we know, the coordinators aren't going to bring it up. They're going to wait for Matt Patricia to talk about it. So let's hop right into these takeaways, man. Let's get to hear from our defense coordinator, Corey Undlin, baby. Okay, Corey Undlin, the first-year defensive coordinator. He was a former secondary coach. He is now calling the defensive shots for the Detroit Lions. And the first thing that he said is that it has to be all hands on deck heading into Green Bay. Because if not, if we're not on top of our game, it could get really ugly, and he's absolutely right. It could get ugly, all right? Everybody knows Green Bay scored 43 in their first game. Everybody knows Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, all right? We get it. Well over 300 passing yards. It could be a problem, and if you simply look on paper, you would say, yes, this is going to be a problem, but every week is different, and the Lions need to get healthy, because if we're not healthy at the cornerback spot, yeah, I think there is reason for concern. However, every week is different. I believe in this team, and he is absolutely right. We have to be ready to go. And even if we can't get healthy, we need to make sure we have scheme and strategy heading into this one for the guys that are healthy, because we were kind of forced to just put them out there, and it didn't really work out. And if you guys want a full breakdown on what actually happened in the fourth quarter before y'all start going blaming this guy and that guy and this guy, go check out the first video I put out today. I break it all down. What happened in the fourth quarter? Why did we give up 21 points? I have a video on that, all right? So don't start blaming people. Go check out that video and then let me know what you think, all right? Come back at me and be like, hey, here's what I feel, all right? So let's continue with what Corey Undlin had to say. He said they put the game to bed from Sunday. Good. Put that game to bed, okay? Sleep. It needs to sleep. Go by. Nightmare gone. All right, you know, get a dream catcher. I don't care. Whatever you got to do, move on from that game. All right, that's what you have to do. That's what I've done. That's why it says hashtag pack week, and that's why you're gonna put it in the comment section, baby. He was asked how his first game went. He said, "Well, we didn't win, so I could leave it at that." But he felt like the first 3 quarters were pretty darn encouraging, and I think he's absolutely right. Keep in mind, he's not just a secondary coach anymore. He is the defense coordinator, so he's responsible for this entire defense, and he thinks that it went pretty well for the first 2 quarters, and I think he's on to something here. Guys, I don't care how many yards you give up. I don't care. I don't care how ugly it is. You gave up 6 points in 3 quarters. That is good. That's very good. That's very good no matter who you're playing, and that had us up by 17. So that's extremely good, okay? 6 points, awesome. That's a great job. Now, we know the fourth quarter, like I said, didn't go so well, but again, I break down why that did happen. However, Corey Undlin said they had a couple of key stops. You guys remember, like, the fourth down sneak, like, right off the beginning? Lions get a stop. That was huge. That doesn't happen a lot, but it was huge. And if you guys can remember, the Lions had a big stop before half, which got them the ball back. Because remember, the Lions had a punt, and they gave Chicago the ball, and I was like, oh, Chicago's going to go score before half. But no, boom, 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 3 and out, give it right back, and then all of a sudden we go down and score a touchdown. That's a huge change in the game. So those are little things that we also have to understand. Let's just not focus on the fourth. Let's focus on what will. And apparently the Lions have really been looking at the first 3 quarters, trying to kind of show that to everybody, build on top of that. And hopefully the fourth quarter doesn't happen again. But again, the reason the fourth quarter happened, you have to know. You have to know what happened in the fourth quarter, because if not, then you'll never know what's wrong with the Detroit Lions in the fourth quarter. You got to know what's wrong to know how to fix it. And I break that down. I'm sorry I'm plugging that so much, but I think it was a good video, all right? Someone even put on Twitter that they liked the video, so shout out to that person. Yes, thank you. Let's keep going. I guess Mitchell Trubisky brought up in his interview, kind of saying that the Lions went more man, or whatever he said. Mitchell Trubisky said whatever. Corey Undlin said, hey, you know what? I would question him on that. Well, I wouldn't question him, but I would question somebody on saying that, because we didn't just go to one thing. Now, sure, we played a little bit more man near the red zone because we tried to tighten up a little bit, which is fine. And again, like I said in the video that I break down, I kind of discussed it all. But he does say that we mixed in different things. We're just going to have to be ready to go for next week. Now, speaking of next week, he was asked about the motions. In my game plan video, if you guys did check that one out, I'm not sure if you did, where I broke down how the Lions could stop the Packers offense, all right? And what I mean by that is what the Lions strategy has to be going into that, what to look out for, what they do. So in that video, I talked about motions, jet sweeps, all of those things that the Packers do over and over and over. And he was brought that up in an interview, and he said that he calls them basically missile motions when they're running at full speed across the plays. But he says a lot of it is to distract you. We have to make sure we're not distracted. Some defenses, it calls to be focused on those guys. Some it doesn't. A lot of times, man in zone, right? Are you going to follow or are you not going to follow? So for the Detroit Lions, that is something they have to keep their eye on. It's something that I brought up, and it's a major factor heading into week 2 against the Green Bay Packers. He was asked about Jeffrey Okudah. I would say, he didn't bring up the injury because he didn't have any update on him. He said he would leave that to Matt Patricia, but he did say that Jeffrey Okudah, there will be a little bit of a learning curve, like every rookie has been. He said he hasn't been with a rookie that doesn't have a learning curve, but some of those guys will go out there and make plays. And he said when Jeffrey Okudah gets that opportunity, whenever it is, I have confidence he will go out there and he will make plays and he will help us win. He's confident with Jeffrey Okudah and him being ready. We heard earlier that he said Jeffrey Okudah was ready to go. He just unfortunately couldn't play because of a hamstring injury. Now healthy, he could be a huge part of this defense if Desmond Trufant, and we already know Justin Coleman's out, can't get back. Hopefully Desmond Trufant's back, but either way, right now he's going to be a huge part. Hopefully he can play in week 2. And speaking of that cornerback position, another thing that we've talked about in the offseason is how to get to the quarterback, right? Because pressure is really, really deep. It's not simply just, hey, good D-line, we're going to get pressure. And Darrell Bevell said that. Darrell Bevell said it's at all 3 levels. Yes, your defensive line has to create pressure, but he says you have to be able to cover first. You have to be able to cover first. Thank you, Corey Undlin.
I can help those guys at times. I'm sure when we look at some of the calls and some of the positions I put them in. But when you talk about getting pressure on this guy, you've got to cover first. And when you can cover, then it gives those guys an opportunity to rush. If you don't, then the ball comes out of his hand in less than 2 seconds. A lot less than that, actually, most of the time. So it's out. So, it starts with the coverage first. And then if the coverage is good and it's sound, then, we can help those guys actually have a chance to get to the quarterback. So all 3 phases there.
He says you have to be able to cover first, all right? Because if you can't cover, it's going to be 1-2 completion. It doesn't matter how many people we bring. If you can't cover, it doesn't really matter. So he says you have to be able to cover first, so it starts with the secondary. Then the linebackers in coverage. Then you get to the quarterback, okay? Because under 2 seconds to get the ball out of your hands, doesn't matter how many people we bring. Most of the time, the average time to pass is 2.5 seconds. And a lot of sacks come over 3 seconds. And we saw a couple of sacks. We did see a sack by Trey Flowers that was forced a fumble. And the Lions did get some pressure. They did turn up the heat a little bit, I would say, against the Chicago Bears down the stretch there. And they could do that a little bit more against Green Bay, depending on who's out there at the cornerback spot. But we know it does start in the back end. That's why they went so heavy secondary this offseason. That's why we're really hoping they can get healthy. And that's why the defense looked pretty darn good, I would say, for the most part, when they were healthy for the first 3 quarters. We need to hopefully get some guys back in the back end because this is going to be difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be very difficult for them to come up with a strategy if they can't be. If they're missing Coleman, Trufant, and Okudah again, good luck. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm glad I'm not doing that job because that's going to be really difficult. Let's move on to what Darrell Bevell had to say, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Guys, he was given like 3 questions, man. He did Darrell Bevell dirty in this one, but he he did say, which I don't even think this was part of the interview, but I did hear that he said that he brought up, the kind of running back thing, and he said it's still going to be by committee, but he also brought up feeding the hot hand. I am okay with running back by committee, okay? Let everybody get involved, see whose day it is, but when it comes down to it, whoever is feeling it, whoever's on fire, he's unstoppable, he's doing his thing, you feed him. All right. I even brought this up in my takeaways video. You feed that guy. Okay. Committee's great. But if someone starts to pick it up and they start getting it going and the defense is struggling to stop him, you don't stop giving him the football. You at least have him on the field. Now, you can go by committee, no wrong with that, especially if no one's, really takes over. But if someone starts to take over and it's difficult to stop Peterson, you have to feed that guy the rocks. Adrian's patience and acceleration through holes, we saw that, we saw that on full display. He said that's going to be a full display, but he's an open book. He helps the young running backs. He helps our running back coach, which I'm sure he does. Adrian Peterson is one of the greatest to ever do it. And even though he's old, I think he showed Sunday that he still got a little something. The dude nearly had 100 yards rushing in his first game as a Lion. And he's 35. Come on, man. What? Where has this guy been? Why have we not signed this guy sooner? What are we doing here? Come on, man. Washington should have never got their hands on him. He should have been in Detroit. No crowd is a factor. Now, he doesn't know how much of a factor yet because he's still kind of getting used to it, but he does say that he has to be careful and he has to change up his signals going to games because sometimes it's so quiet you can hear the other team making noise. So you have to change up signals. You have to be wary of that because other teams could catch on. Doesn't know if they're doing it or not, but you have to change up your signals going the next week. So just little things there. And finally, Braden Coombs. Apparently it's his son's birthday, so happy birthday to him. And it's also Dave Burkett's son's birthday, so happy birthday to him. Okay, and happy birthday to whoever's watching this, and it is your birthday. Happy birthday. Sorry, I've got a lot of happy birthdays out there. Braden Coombs first said that Fox came into this with a little bit of nerves, which I would expect. I mean, heck, it really doesn't matter what you play, guys. If you're in an organized sport, a lot of times you're going to go out there with some nerves. It's just sports. I mean, that's how it is. And for Jax Fox, his first opportunity to start in an NFL game, yeah, I get it. But like Coombs said, he made the most of it. He went out there, had a great punt to start it off, and he was good to go. Wasn't perfect, but he was very, very good. And he said that's something that we saw in practice. We knew he could do that, and we're glad that he did it on the field. Now, this was like a little interesting part that I didn't really think of, is that when all these cornerbacks are being brought up, McCray, you bring up McCray, Roberts gets a bigger role because he's injuries, and they're like forced to go up and play cornerback role during the game. It's important for the special teams guys that have those guys prepared to step into that special teams role because now they're cornerbacks. You don't want them still out there at special teams. So now all of a sudden you have to have the next man out prepared. It's allowing the special teams to do that. That's like a little bit of an underrated job, I would say, of a special teams coordinator. So that's really cool. I really never thought about that before, but that's a good one. Also with Jamal Agnew, he said we were really close. Not just Agnew alone, but in multiple situations. But Agnew was close to making some returns. We know the punt return was almost a touchdown. He was tripped up at the end there. But Jamal Agnew seems to be gaining some confidence, and he says, you know what? I've been there before. I wasn't good, but I've been there. I've been a returner, and when the new system comes in, you're a little bit weird, like, how's this going to work? But then all of a sudden, once you see the holes, you see what they're talking about, now all of a sudden, he started to build some confidence. He says, we know what he can do on the field. Now he's building confidence, and we know that Jamal Agnew, I have a feeling Jamal Agnew might take one back next week. That just might be my bold prediction. Either on a punt or kickoff, Jamal Agnew might just have to take one to the house. And finally, the field goal, all right? Some people don't like it. Guys, again, hindsight's 20/20. But for me personally, I still have no problems with them taking a field goal, okay? No problems with it at all. They took the field goal. They missed it. It was a 55-yard kick. Prater does this all the time. No problems with it whatsoever, right? You're trying to really add to that lead, especially with a lot of your cornerbacks out. He missed it. Coombs says he was 100% behind that decision. And I think the way that he explained it was beautiful. He said that when it comes to the end of the game, which is our dagger time, when it comes to that, that is when the best players, and you go to those best players to make plays. And Matt Prater is one of our best players. And he's not wrong. He is one of our, he's won so many games. He's tied many games. He's forced overtimes from long range. So you have to go to this guy. And he said, I've seen him make it every single time he's kicked it. He just missed this one. He just missed this one. But he would not take any kicker over Matt Prater because of his personality, his mindset, also his talent. So he's 100% behind that decision kick it. And if he had that decision again, he probably would do it again. And you know what? I like that. I like that. I like having confidence in your players. So boom, man, that's it. That's all we got. What are you guys thinking? How you feel? I know some people are like, oh yeah, I'm still worried about the Packers until we get our cornerbacks back. And then all of a sudden we eat. That's really what I'm waiting for. Guys, once I figure out what we're doing with the cornerback spot, it'll really fluctuate my prediction here. You guys know that. So let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching. And I'm out. Look at all these cool people. Look at all these cool Hall of Fame, All-Pro, and patrons. You guys are so awesome. Look how interesting. That's an interesting name. I've never seen one like that. I'm not saying that one out loud. We got some cool stuff here, man. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys want to be part of this? Click the join button. I appreciate you guys. Look, man, you guys are cool, man. I see you. Oh, I see you're not sneak. I see you down there, my boy.